Verena here. I'm back for day 17 of From Logic to Living. And today it's all about self care. And self care itself hasn't gotten a very good rap, I think. And I'm not just talking about bubble baths and I don't know, people sometimes call the weirdest things self care. And honestly, I mean, it's totally fine. It's up to everyone to define what self care means for them. Yeah, but why self care is actually strategy and how this determines your life. So, self care for me is not a reward anymore. Yeah, I talked about this before. Especially growing up in Germany, where we have this saying, work before pleasure. And I think, yeah, also the many women I talk to, it's always they have this feeling that they can only do something pleasurable, take care of themselves, rest when everything is done. And I mean it's maybe not just even women. Like I mean I also know men who, only when their complete to-do list is ticked off for the day, then you know they're open for pleasure or things like taking care of themselves. But what we forget is that self care is a way of managing our energy. And how we manage our energy determines our life. Because if you're exhausted, if you're in survival mode, if you're burned out, if you're stressed, you're making decisions in a very different way. You're reacting in a very different way. You're rather reacting than responding. Also, your prefrontal cortex tends to be less active. You can't really feel what is true for you, right? You're disconnected from this inner voice, your inner guidance. You're more susceptible to just following what is expected from you, what other people want from you. You're much more susceptible to, you know, following other people's agendas and expectations instead of doing what is important for your agenda and where you want to go. And when we when we don't manage our energy properly, it's a bit like running like a headless chicken that's running around without direction. The more centered you are, the more calm and clear you are in yourself, the better you can actually discern what is right for you and what isn't. What is true for you and what isn't. What is it that you want and what is it that other people want, and what matters to you versus what matters to others. And also, most people aren't tired because they're doing too much. They're tired because their energy is everywhere. Their energy is completely scattered. They're multitasking 100 different things, is working on too many things at the same time, and then you're just feeling super scattered, spread thin. Yeah, and not centered and clear and directed. And this actually fits perfectly into my day to day. So today for me was full creation mode. I think I started around 10:15, then worked for like around 2 hours, and then came back after lunch and a long walk at maybe 2:30 until now. And then I just focus on things I gotta do, and I do one thing after the other. So I mapped out my one-on-one offering, which I'm going to open 2 to 3 spots at a very special founding price very soon. Also planned my next free event, which is going to be in June. Very excited for that one. It has a very special title, so excited to share that one with you soon. and mapped out how basically the first half of the year will look like for me. And for me now, this feels very easy to get into this creation mode and to become creative and to get ideas, because I'm protecting my energy. Because my energy is calm and grounded, and I'm not doing a million things at the same time. And, it's not like I need to jump from meeting to meeting, or I get pinged all the time. And this used to be very different. So I still remember very clearly when I was working in the corporate world, and your day looks like, your days basically is cut into many small pieces, because you have a meeting, then you have some time to work, then maybe someone pings you on Slack, then you have another meeting, and you just have these short windows of time, and you don't really have long focus time, and this drained my energy a lot. And I also remember very clearly that back then I had zero creativity, absolutely zero. I was just in execution mode. Execute, execute, execute. But when you're in execution mode the whole time, your creativity can't flow. You're not coming up with new ideas. You're not coming up with innovative ideas. And this is not just my experience. I mean, this is actually something I've heard from many others. And also, this is why there is this debate around how you can best facilitate innovation in companies, because innovation doesn't just happen. You need to create space for that. And it doesn't happen in the day to day, usually, at least not the big ones, right? Maybe you improve a process here and there. And yes, okay, this is also innovation, but really, these big innovative jumps where you completely reinvent an industry or product or whatever it may be, this doesn't happen when you just execute. And this doesn't mean there aren't days of execution, but it also means there needs to be some spaces, some time where you can actually be in this energy of creation. And for this, self-care is very important. And self-care is, for me, I mean, it is routines, it is rest, yeah, but it's also more than that. And it's not just that, because you can feel exhausted on the weekend, or you can rest all weekend and still feel exhausted. If you kind of draining your energy too much throughout the week over extended periods of time. I mean, this is what happened to me also. Back in 2021, I remember we went on vacation. I still felt completely exhausted and drained after that vacation or during the vacation. So it's not just this rest and routine, but it's also looking at where are you leaking energy. And leaking energy means you avoid certain decisions that you make. So for example, big energy leak for me was, do I stay in AI, or do I finally go all in into my business that I'm really passionate about? This was a huge energy leak. I spoke in a previous video about it, how now I feel so much more calmer, even though the uncertainty is much bigger than before. But I don't have this inner conflict anymore. I don't have this, should I hold on to the old? Should I hold on to the security? Should I hold on to the reasonable versus, my desire that was pulling me in a different direction? And this inner conflict was costing me a lot of energy. The same thing like saying yes when it's a no, things that you've outgrown, overthinking everything, these mental loops, right? When we keep stuck and basically just talking the same stuff to ourselves over and over again, trying to make something work that doesn't feel right. Also, sweeping things under the carpet in relationships, right? Where do you avoid difficult conversations? Where you're not bringing things out into the open. This is where our energy is going. And self-care also means is that you take care of these energy leaks, so that your energy is calm, collected, grounded, you have all your energy with you, and then you are also capable to do much more with less time or without feeling so drained. So where are you leaking your energy right now? Where is something in your life that you haven't addressed but avoided, and you actually know it, you're just not acting on it yet? So again, self-care isn't just resting and taking care of your well-being, but in this very classical way, right, where we talk about yoga and maybe bubble baths and walks and all this, and this is also very important. So for me, this is a very constant share of my day. So I start my day every morning with Kundalini yoga, and then I add different things, right? Sometimes it's a little bit of breath work, sometimes it's another embodiment work, so practicing to really go into the deeper wisdom centers of your body, right, out of your head into the wisdom centers of your body. Sometimes I do visualizations, connecting myself to my vision, feeling into the future so that I'm actually aligned. Sometimes I do EFT sessions to process emotions. So it depends on how I feel. But I'm really making sure that my energy is in a good place every day. And then also during the day, I always go for a walk in the morning. I go for a walk after lunch. When I feel stressed, I take, 5 to 10 minutes to breathe during the day. I listen to, things that expand me, that let me learn and grow every day. I love to read, and I mean, it doesn't mean you have to do everything. I also realize that this is a lot that I'm doing. That's not the norm, but at least do some of it. And also find out what helps you keep your energy in a high place, in a high vibrational state. And especially in these times right now, right, where everyone is in these lower frequencies of fear and worry, anxiety, doubt, this is especially important. Focus on what you can control, not on what you can't control. And then be optimistic about the things you can control. Close those energy leaks, make the decision, stop what doesn't feel right. Yeah, and this is the work that I do. And it's really about coming back to yourself, stop forcing things, and letting life flow through you again. And this is also what Flow Over Force was about, my 4-week course that I ran in March, which is now available as a self-paced course. Right now it's on a very special offer, only 97 euros. You get access to the course for a full year. It's 4 weeks with 4 different themes, each one consisting of a transmission where we recode beliefs and an embodiment session. So for each week, you have also an embodiment session so that these new beliefs actually sink into your body and you feel those, right? So it feels true for you, because transformation really happens in the body, not in the head. Only when we feel differently about things, we can actually change it, right? Yeah, so you learn to slow down, you learn to connect with your inner voice to find out what actually feels true for you, and then also act on it. And yeah, it's really beautiful that there were so many touching testimonials coming out of that course. Really amazing shifts for the women who did this journey with me. And I'd like to read one more that's also really touching. Verena creates space for the conversations that usually remain unspoken, inviting you to slow down and redefine what a fulfilling life means for you. Because of her, I feel grounded, strengthened, and confident that I'm exactly where I need to be on my path. That's beautiful, and that's what it's all about, right? Creating our own paths, developing trust in our own path, and following what is true for us. Okay, that was the transmission for today. Yeah, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow.